Welcome to the Downtown Madison Happenings Podcast. We hear from our members and learn something new about downtown. This podcast is brought to you by our friends, the law firm of Carlson, Black, O'Callahan, and Battenberg, located in downtown Madison. Carlson Black specializes in commercial real estate, business, and tax law. Carlson Black is proud to represent many DMI members in helping build a vibrant and inclusive downtown. Today, we are lucky to have John Konarske, the publisher of In Business magazine, my go-to source for all things business every single month. We're just excited here today to have John to talk about what's going on in the business community that he's hearing, because he's got his fingers on the pulse. We're going to hear about what's happening at In Business, and we want to talk about their Expo, which is coming up on May 18th at the Alliant Energy Center. John, how are you today?
Doing great. Thank you, Jason. It's great to be here. Thank you for inviting me, and always good to see your face. So thanks for having me on.
Well, I appreciate that. I put moisturizer just for you.
Your face is better than mine. As the light glistens off my head here, it's beautiful.
Well, hopefully we'll be through these Zoom meetings.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's a good segue. I mean, as the publisher of In Business magazine, you all do an amazing job of covering all sectors of business in the Dane County and in the larger area. You're really hearing from a lot of businesses, hospitality, manufacturing, biotech, you name it. What are you hearing about, as we come out of the pandemic? What are businesses saying? What are the opportunities they have right now, and what are they nervous about moving forward over the next few years?
Yeah, I mean, I think, it's interesting. I think, we've all kind of navigated our way through these last 2 years here during the pandemic. And I mean, my honest answer would be, I think it depends on the industry, right? I mean, there's certainly industries, and I'm sure you see them downtown. I mean, specifically, certain industries like retail and hospitality and, restaurants that, there's still real struggles there. I mean, they all had the struggles during the pandemic when, we've got stay-at-home orders and all these things going on. And now it's obviously shifted into, more of an employment workforce, issue and trying to find people. I mean, so I think there's real issues, but it's not just focused here in Dane County and Madison. I mean, these are issues that are businesses across the country and across the world are facing. So it's not, it's not just a Madison issue. It's a worldwide global issue. I think that we're seeing right now, but. I mean, I think overall, I mean, the conversations that I've had with businesses, and again, I mean, it's somewhat dependent on industries, but I think people are generally pretty positive and optimistic about, where we're headed, and especially moving here into the second half of 2022 and 2023 as we start to see a little bit more normalcy coming back into our our social lives and our business lives and everything else. I mean, just getting people back together again and seeing people and kind of getting back into a normal routine. It might be a new normal routine, but at least more of a normal routine than we were 2 years ago at this time. So I think there's I think genuine optimism about, I think overall, if I'm taking kind of a macro view of the business climate right now and the business community in general, I think it's, probably for the first time in a couple of years, globally, I think things are definitely looking up and there's a positive vibe right now. So that's been good to see. I mean, I think we certainly need that, as we move kind of into this, hopefully into this post-pandemic world, if that's what we can. I don't know if we're safe to call it that yet, but I'm going to call it that regardless. So let's stay positive, right?
Hey, I like some positivity. Some people accuse me of being a little too positive, but there are weaknesses, right? I think we're starting to see, you brought up labor. Labor is a crucial issue, particularly for hospitality, small manufacturing. It's a big issue here downtown. Many people are beginning to talk about the R word, right? Recession. Is that where people's anxieties are lying right now in both workforce recession? And I'm also hearing, are we through the pandemic, right? Quite open questions about what happens with the pandemic moving forward.
No, I think that's a great point. I mean, the recession is certainly something that's still kind of, in the back of everybody's mind right now. And I mean, we're starting to hear more and more about that. And obviously we don't want to see that, coming off of a pandemic, right? I mean, we're trying to, I think everybody's trying to stay positive. And again, I think it depends on who you're talking to, what industry somebody's in, as far as what type of an outlook you're going to get. But I think the employment situation is, like we talked about. I mean, it's a real issue right now, and I think it's a puzzling issue for a lot of people, right? Because it's like, where have all these people gone? I mean, especially when you talk to restaurants and retail, it's like, how do I find people? Where, how do we get them back working again? And where did they go? I mean, that's kind of the mystery I still have, is where did these people that were working pre-pandemic, where are they now? I mean, it's kind of a fascinating, confusing issue right now. But it's definitely it's a big issue for, a lot of industries. I mean, and that's not just singling out retail and restaurants and hospitality. I mean, it's an issue for a lot of different industries right now. And, certainly, it could certainly impact if, hopefully that R word, let's hope we're not going down that road.
What, you really do bring up some important points that it's a puzzling issue, right? And I think, I was sat down a couple of weeks ago and just put a list together with some colleagues of mine to say what are the causes of the problem. And one of the biggest things that we noticed in the workforce is that we had an issue before the pandemic, and now that's the situation just been expedited or accelerated. And there's probably 15 different reasons that we came up with this to why the employees just are not there. As the great Justice Castaneda says from Commonwealth, nuance is never popular. And there's just a whole series of reasons for this to happen. But I want to touch base also on something that you talked about, events, right? Bringing people back. In particular, that's what we care about. But it's a big part of your business model is having live events, and you're bringing them back again. How nice is it to be back again? And how important are events for you and the networking in general for the business community in Madison?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's vital, right? I mean, and I think there's maybe a newfound appreciation for just having these events, right? I mean, after the past couple of years, and I mean, you dealt with it too at DMI, right? I mean, it's when the pandemic hit in March of 2020, I mean, we were full go, planning major events that year, and I mean, we had to pretty much shut them all down or pivot and go to the a virtual environment. And we were all able to make this work. I mean, we were all able to make Zoom work and do different things virtually, but there's just no substitute in my eyes of bringing people back together and having those physical face-to-face interactions and connections with people. And so we started to bring we had a couple of outdoor events last summer. That was kind of our first foray into bringing events back. And then last fall and into the winter, we started to do some in-person indoor venue type events as well. And it's been some of them have been slower to kind of re-engage in events again than others have, but we're really starting to see that especially over the past 2 or 3 months. And I'm hopeful that it's going to expand even more here as we get in. We'll talk about our Expo next month, but you talk to people, you see people at these events, and everybody's just so grateful to be back seeing people in person again. And again, there's just no substitute for that. And that's a big part of our mission in business, is to connect the business community. Now, you can connect people virtually and do different things. I mean, even our magazine and our online products are still connectors, but again, there's no substitute in my eyes for that physical face-to-face connection that you can get by attending events and seeing people in person. And you just can't build that rapport with people in a virtual environment like you can face-to-face.
I didn't know how important it was to connect, as a connector myself until the pandemic, how much business happens in just these small conversations. You run into someone in a coffee shop, you walk out of a conference with somebody. Those where deals happen and where relationships are built and the trust is built to continue to do deals together.
Absolutely. You're right. You mentioned a key word, the trust there. I mean, for whatever reason, I think it's just hard to build that trust, that rapport with somebody over a screen as you can seeing them in person and just interacting with them, right? I mean, it's just, I just don't think there's a substitute for that.
No, there's not. And that's why it's so good to see you all running events. I know you did a great event with our friends at the Downtowners at the Brink Lounge last week. You always run one of my favorite events of the year, the 40 under 40. I go and I feel like you have to kick me out because at the end, just it's my happy face, and I'm running into so many great young leaders. So, thank you for what you're doing for running these events downtown. We really appreciate it.
Well, likewise with you two. You guys run great events at DMI, and I mean, it's not, it's not just us, it's not just you. It's, I mean, I think bringing all these events back and giving the business community an opportunity to connect again. I think it's up to all of us, not just in business and not just DMI, but I think it's on all of us to bring these opportunities back for the community.
Well, and I got to say, the pandemic, I'm sure, has affected your business, right? The magazine business, the business journalism side of things. Mm-hmm. How did the pandemic affect you, and what positives came out of it that you were able to pivot and say, okay, we can do something different and get our message and our stories out to more people in the community?
Yeah. So, I mean, like every business, I'm sure when in March of 20, we had to pivot and pivot fast. I mean, we, all of a sudden, we're going home, we're changing processes, not only that, but our 60,000 readers are also going home. Right. So we had to pivot really fast, and get a digital publication put together, because we knew, we couldn't, we had, all of our subscribers were, those magazines were being sent to offices. Well, if the majority of those people are now heading home at that point, we had no idea how long, right? I think everybody was like, oh, this might be a couple of weeks. We'll see in a couple of weeks. And then obviously two plus years later, we know how that all worked out. But, so yeah, we had to pivot really fast. I mean, the digital publication that we created was vital for us. And we're still offering that as an opportunity now for our readers. I mean, our print magazine's not going anywhere. It's still the lifeblood of what we do. And more people have gone back to the office now, and so we're that's moving forward as planned. But the digital publication was key for us. And just helping us to keep people informed. And our online products too during that time, our e-zine that we sent out twice a week was huge. We really, and our mission in business is to connect, inform, and elevate the greater Madison business community. Well, in those early months, especially, in 2020, we, after the pandemic hit, we really had to double down on the informing part of that, because, there was so much coming at all of us, right? I mean, it felt like every minute we were, there was a big news item that we had to push out there, or a resource, I mean, whether it was stay-at-home stuff, mental health issues. I mean, the PPP loans. I mean, all those things that were, impacting the local business community from being, driven by the pandemic. We had to really focus in on that informing arm of our vision, our mission here at In Business. So we really doubled down there. I mean, we were still a connector. We still prided ourselves on connecting, but again, we had to do it different than how we normally would do it. And so we had to find different opportunities to keep people connected. And once we got a few months out, after March, we were able to do more of the elevating and the awards, and we were able to still do a lot of that stuff and still elevate the business community as well. But we really had to double down on the informing aspect of our business and really make sure. And but it was an interesting time, no doubt. I mean, not only were we trying to keep the business community informed and updated on everything that was going on, all the stuff flying at us, but we're a small business ourselves, so we're trying to navigate as a small business and make sure that we could stay around and still be a resource for the business community. And thankfully, we weathered that storm and, the waves there that the pandemic brought on. And, I think we're stronger coming out of it here. So all is good there.
Well, I'm glad you are stronger coming out of it, because it is, I'm glad you also delved more into the information, because your biweekly emails or twice a week emails, I always get that wrong.
Yeah.
Bi-weekly would be every other week. Yeah, twice a week. I every single time read them. I gotta say, I obviously have your copy of your magazine on my desk at any time. The is must read. If people do one thing, read the business report. It gives a great update.
Yeah.
Thank you for continuing to double down.
Absolutely.
Speaking of really cool things, I'm going to use an old school screen share here and talk about, it's probably backwards though because of this, but this Expo that is coming on May 18th this year. It's a highlight of the business year for many of us. It's happening May 18th at the Alliant Energy Center. You've got great speakers like Ken Schmidt, the former director of communications at Harley. You just got, the Expo and all these different things happening. John, how can people get involved and why is it important to attend this event?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've kind of touched on it a little bit, but I just think it's more vital than ever, right? I mean, coming out of where we've been the past 2 years to bring this business community back, in person again. And I mean, that's our tagline. It's very simple. It's back in business in person, or back to business in person, I should say. But I mean, that's it, right? I mean, I think we need to get the community back together again, for a day of, connecting. I mean, obviously there's going to be countless of connecting opportunities at the Expo. We've got, 70 plus exhibitors, local companies, organizations that'll be exhibiting their businesses on the floor that day. But, there's going to be, we're expecting upwards to 1,000 people coming out on the 18th and really getting people back together again. And you mentioned a lot of the speakers we've got coming in. I mean, it's not just about coming out and connecting, but we've got Ken Schmidt, our keynote speaker, former Harley Davidson executive. We've got 3 seminars going on the Expo floor throughout the day with local speakers on relevant business topics. I mean, topics that are impacting businesses of all shapes and sizes and professionals of all titles. I mean, there's something there for everyone. And then we also have a DEI strategy session. We've got Kwame Salter, a former Madisonian, former executive with Kraft Foods, and he was initiating DEI initiatives for Kraft Foods before DEI was even a thing, before it was what it is today. And we're really lucky to have him coming into town too, because he's going to talk about taking DEI and actually making it a business growth strategy for your business. I mean, I think unfortunately, what happens when there's social injustice issues like we had in the summer of 2020, a lot of companies get behind it, but it's more of a window dressing public relations thing, and it doesn't go real deep. But Kwame's really going to take that further and really explain why it's important to build DEI strategy, into your growth strategy for your business, and why that's important. So a lot of different things. Again, I could go on and on about all of our speakers, but again, to sum up, I think it's going to be a great opportunity for us to get the business community back together again, in a big way, which again, I think we need coming out, after these past 2 years, to really bring everyone back, to connect, to learn, but also just to celebrate again and to celebrate what we have in this business community, which is a lot. I mean, it's a great community. We all love to work and live and play here, but we need to bring people back now and in person again and start making those connections again.
Well, I'll just plan on seeing you on May 18th at the Alliant Energy Center. Great. It's good to see everyone. All right. You answered all of the easy questions.
Yes.
Are you ready for the hard ones?
Yes. I mean, bring it on. I don't know where this is going, but bring it on. This is kind of
scares me. We don't tell anyone ahead
of time. It kind of scares me, but let's do this.
All right. We got what's called the Fast and Furious 5. We'll say today it's brought to you by In Business Magazine and the Expo on May 18th. 5 questions, easy questions, and just whatever is the top of your mind, blurt it out. You ready?
All right.
Pretty
Sounds
easy. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. What is your favorite business news story that's ever appeared in the magazine?
Oh boy.
It's like asking your favorite kid. You're welcome, by the way.
My favorite business news story. Man, boy. Boy, you're hitting the hard right away. This is like picking one of my kids.
You're welcome. This is what. Yep, you're welcome. You could say it was one that I was in. I wouldn't be offended by that.
Well, I mean, every news story that you're in is a great one.
Flattery will get you everywhere. Thank you. All right,
You know,
we could pass on that one because that is like
let me
your
come
favorite
back to
child.
that one. Let me come
All right,
back to that
all
one.
right. What's your
circle
favorite?
around.
What's your favorite downtown event?
Downtown event, I would go concerts on the square.
It's back, and actually, it was our last podcast. So thank you for tying all
Oh, really nice. All right.
on
I'm
very
glad I could do
well.
that. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. I
yes. We
love
had Joe
concerts on the
Lanus.
square.
We had great Joe Lanus, who was one of your icons in business, I think.
Yes, he was. Awesome.
Yes,
Good.
yeah. So way to tie this all together. All right, what's your favorite downtown restaurant?
Mm, um, I'm gonna go Eno Vino. I mean,
He
there are a
was
lot of
pretty
great,
good.
downtown restaurants, but I'll put that on top for the view too.
I like that. Good pun. Yeah. Good pun. All right. Favorite Babcock ice cream flavor?
Oh boy. I mean, I'm kind of an original. I'm not real exotic with my ice cream flavors, so I'm just. Although maybe this is for some. I'm not going to go vanilla, but I'm going to go cookie dough. I'm kind of a. I kind of go to my staple cookie dough, so I'd go cookie dough.
I mean, you could have gone vanilla. My dad, who is a self-appointed ice cream expert, the guy that orders a triple scoop at Babcock, and I don't know if anyone knows, one scoop for Babcock is actually 3 small scoops.
Yeah.
Goes and orders, and he thinks their vanilla is the best. So every time he comes from Minneapolis, goes to the counter and says, "I want a triple scoop in a cone." They say, "Sir, you can't do that. That's too many scoops in the cone." And he's like, "Well, then just put the other ones in the bowl." So I'm surprised he's still with us, right?
Yeah, that's great.
But he thinks the Babcock vanilla is the best vanilla in the world. So you could have said that.
All right. Well, I didn't want to go that plain, so let's go cookie dough.
All right, fair enough. We'll give you 2. We'll take cookie dough and vanilla. All right, last from us today. You've got a visitor coming into town. What's the one place you bring them downtown to show off the best of our city?
Best place. Well, usually, I mean, I'm not a big, admittedly, I'm not a big winter guy. So if we're bringing somebody in from out of town, we'll typically try to sync it up in the summer because, Madison's beautiful in the summer. So I would say, I mean, again, I'm probably going, I'm not going exotic here, but I'm going to say, farmer's market, a walk up and down State Street, around the lakes downtown. Again, I'm not going to provide you with a lot of good inside content here, but this is, it's kind of the old staples of what you do with, bringing somebody into Madison. But those would probably be my 3 key areas to take somebody downtown.
But you know what? There's a reason why all of those items are popular is because they're fun things to do. And those are
absolutely
remarkably the answers almost every time.
I mean,
someone says Farmers Market, State Street, Union.
Exactly. I mean, and really, I mean, is there a more beautiful entry into a downtown than driving somebody right in John Nolan, and you got the lakes and Manoa Terrace and the Capitol? I mean, just that there. I mean, a walk along, John Nolan is a great option as well.
Agreed, but I think we can make it even better. Hence the Lake Monona Waterfront project, super exciting project, which I know you all have written on, so it could be even better. John Konarske, publisher of In Business Magazine, thank you so much for joining us on the Downtown Happenings podcast, brought to you by our friends at Carlson Black. We really do appreciate all you're doing for the business community, keeping us informed, bringing us together. So we'll see you all on May 18th at the Lion Energy Center for the In Business Expo. John, thank you for all you do. We really appreciate it, my friend.
Can I mention one other thing?
You can do whatever you want.
Listeners here, just real quick, if you want to attend the expo, I'm going to give you a discount code. So anybody watching this, there we go. When you go to register, MadisonBusinessExpo.com is the website. It's very easy to register. When you click on the registration button, there's a link there to enter a promo code. Type in the word connect. So very easy, connect. It'll take $10 off your Expo pass. If you're interested in the keynote with Ken Schmidt, there is a $50 fee for that part of the program, but it'll still take $10 off of that $50 fee. The Expo pass is $10, so this will it'll make your attendance free if you just want to come and walk the Expo floor or see the seminars or the DEI strategy session. So no reason not to come, right? I'm basically giving you a free admission. So if you're listening, watching this, whatever platform, make sure to write down the word connect, and that'll get you in for free for the expo on May 18th.
Wow, you have really upped your game for the follow upcoming podcast hosts. They have to now give something out for free. Thank you for your
Absolutely.
Hey, let's just plan on all seeing each other May 18th at the Alliant Energy Center. John, thank you so much again for all you do. I hope you have a great rest of the week, and we'll talk to you soon, my friend.
Sounds good. Thanks, Jason. Appreciate it. Thanks, Madeline.